All right. One of the things I really think that is so important, and as I'm building this thing that I'm working on right now, right? Make that bread. Let's do it. One thing that's working on right now, besides that chord being right in the middle of the screen, is that I'm working on how do I go about preparing myself for the year. And one of the things that I've found in myself that makes a big difference is when I have a real plan or a vision of what it's going to look like, at least, right? I can execute. When I know what I'm going towards, I can make that happen. I got that going way too fast. But when I don't know what I'm going, then I'm just haphazardly getting about doing it. And so I got I found my gimbal. I had this thing. We'll see how it goes with this, but let's keep me in the middle. So we'll see if that does a better job than it being moving or not. We're going to find out. But so one of the things that I think that makes a big difference is having that ability to have a plan and building a plan. When I talk to a lot of guys with the nonprofit that I do right now, Kids Their Dads, and all the coaching that I do around that in the proving grounds and just in dads in general, I talk about like, what are you going to do this year? You know, like you're getting divorced, you're going through all these struggles, right? What does it look like to be a dad in this life? Like, what does that look like for you? What does this next year look like? Like, you want to be a dad. I want to hang out with my kids. Okay, well, what do you want to do? And so many guys don't know. So many people don't know. They don't have a plan. They don't have a vision for what it looks like. And so then I'm sitting there and I'm talking about building a vision. And I've talked to many guys about like building a vision. What does building a vision look like? How do you build a vision for your life, for your year? And through that, I've discovered that so many people don't know how to build a vision. So many people don't understand the process that it takes to sit down, make a plan, see it to fruition, and then deliver. And so because of that, that's the starting point. It's always the very beginning. It's the basis for all this stuff. And so we're going into 2026. We're already in 24 days now as of today. And with that, I'm not tracking my steps. That's all right. Tracking them now. I'm going to decide how many steps I'm going to take too. So I'm going to have to put this out there, but I'm going to do a challenge on what this looks like, because we got to have a challenge going on. Music came on. It was Young Jeezy. Yeah, I mean it. And he said, you know, if I say something, I mean it. That's how it starts. And so true. So making a plan and getting it organized about what that plan looks like. How are we going to execute? And so I talked about kind of the history yesterday, the history of my life, what's got me to this point, you know, the trials, the tribulations, the choices that I've made. You know, I don't really take the circumstances that I found myself in as being the choices that I made are what got me in those circumstances to begin with. And I put myself in those places. And then I made choices, right? I chose to fight this judge and to have a protest in his front steps at the courthouse. I chose to fight this judge, calling him out online. I chose to fight him by going to law school. I chose to fight him by putting out there all the stuff that's going on, by protesting again, by having Father's Day events, by doing all this stuff. I went out there and did it. I had tons of events, carnivals I've had, water gun fights, everything. I chose to fight. I could have chose to walk away from my son's mom, to walk away from my son. I didn't have to go through the heartache and the pain and the turmoil to be my son's dad. And a lot of dads just walk away. And I chose to stay and go through that pain because I was so committed to being my son's dad. And I wasn't going to let that happen. And so that was a choice, though. And I could have easily made a different choice. And could I have been happier from that choice? I don't know. Maybe in the moment. But what I've been is fulfilled by how I showed up and what I've accomplished. And through that, I made a ton of choices. I chose to write, letters. I chose to continue to keep working on my activism, fighting the system, changing laws, being engaged. I made all those choices over and over and over again, continuously making those choices. And they got me here. It got me blocked and got me in this place. And then this last year, I've been kind of figuring out where I'm going, what I want, how's this going to look. And I have a much clearer picture now of what my life is going to look like because of some of the circumstances that have played some havoc on my choices are now maybe a little more mellow, and I can see more clearly towards where I want this to go with this new path. You know, it's one of those hard things, especially when you have a spot where like, I've done all this stuff, I'm going down this line, it's all working out, right? I think I have gotten to a spot where, boom, I hit this spot, I'm in a groove, let's ride this out, you know? And I had this vision. I was going to ride this law thing out. It was going good for me. Boom, boom, boom. But through that, though, with that vision, and then things come in, right? And you got to be able to be flexible. You got to be able to make those moves to transition and grow wherever the whole thing takes you and takes me. And so it took me in this space where I quit my job, quit all my stuff, couldn't be a lawyer. They blocked me. And I'm sitting there going, holy shit, who am I going to be now? You know, we're going to summertime. I don't have the job I thought I was going to have. I don't have the money coming in I thought I was going to get. I have my son. I got to do these things with him. Where does it all play in? And so then building up, like, how am I going to go do these things now? Kids or Dads was going to be my side hustle, my side gig, you know, that I was going to build up and get going over the next 5-ish years or so while I learned about everything and I took it out of my own sweet time. And now it's like, now it's here. Now it's here and it's real. And how am I going to make this happen without knowing where I'm going with it and everything else? And so I started playing, putting some things together. I put together the Forge, put together Proving Grounds, you know, been building up these different ideas and these different approaches. And a lot of it requires a lot of work, and a team would be nice. We'd always don't have a team. But now we got AI, and the AI is transforming how I'm able to do so many more of my things and take so many more of my things to fruition. And so now the buildup and the plan going forward is, how do I then take these things that I've done, these things that I've had, these visions that I've had, and then turn them into reality this year going forward? And what does that look like? And so I was going to do it, writing it down. Man, I still debate if I'm going to do it writing it down or not. I feel like writing it is the best way to do it. And I'll tell you, I think that because it brings the whole mind and body together, right? I'm spending that time, hell yeah, dude, forging, baby. When you're writing, you get that connectivity, right, between your hand and your mind, and you're really, everything's much more intentional. When you're talking, sometimes there's room for missing intentionality, and when you're doing things on like a talking into a computer and it's helping you type stuff up, a lot less connectivity, right? There's a lot less of that intentionality inside of there that you might get. And so that's one of the hard challenges that I've had of how does this actually go about looking? And so my thought has been that I was going to do this on paper today, but then remembering how I talked about this, I just don't feel like paper is the way to go. And the reason I don't think paper is the way to go for this experiment and this today is that I've written this out recently, like 6 months ago, probably 5 months ago, my vision. And I have some new ideas now, but what I hadn't done back then, I hadn't talked to anybody about it, you know, and I've told people what my vision looks like, and I've read them after it's complete. But I think one of the things that a lot of people don't get is the process. And so if I was doing a really professional job, like something like somebody would do, I'd have a chart right here right now. See, you start off high level thinking, like, what do you want? You know, the process is like diving into the 4 areas that you have, right? Because in the Forge and in my life, there are 4 real areas of focus that I have for my life. And the number 1 area that I have in my life, actually there's 5 really, but there's 4 key components that everybody has in their life. The 5th, that's number 2. That's number 2, guys. We're counting. I said 200 this year. I am probably going to be low. 200 times. That's the bet. I am taking the under on 200. So that's 2. Anyways, so we're going to do this. Going to be crazy. There is the whole, there's 4 things, right? The 4 things that go into making for your life to be a success and to keep track of where you're going at. And you need to have all of these 4 things at least. And there's a 5th thing, the extra one. But, and I think it's also extremely important, but that if you don't have these four, the other one you probably can't even get because you don't have the ability to do that without having these four mastered. And so the four that we have, and in the Forge and in my coaching and stuff that I do and I talk to you about, is there's four different pillars: the kingdom, the chalice, the vault, and the temple. And I think I talked about them last time also, but I'll talk about it again. So the kingdom, that's the family, that's the legacy, that's the connection, right, between the past and the future. That's the building place. You know, I'm working on a family crest. That's the kingdom, right? It's going to be a lot of chalice and stuff inside there also, right? But that's the kingdom. That's putting together a piece of pieces of wood together to build something that stands time. So my son and our family will always have that in place. And it's extremely important to me and to him. And I kind of feel like I'm getting a lot of ceiling up in these photos. Let's do this. How does this look? Oh, that's just going to be a problem, I think. Gonna be a problem. All right. Anyways, there's the kingdom. And after the kingdom, I did the chalice. And then these aren't in any particular order, just the one that I did today. The chalice is filling your cup, right? A chalice is like a ceremonial, celebratory cup, like the most ornament and exotic and incredible cup you could have. And I'm going to talk about all these on one day. We'll have a whole discussion on different days, maybe about each one. But you got to fill your cup. If you don't have a full cup, if you're running on empty, you can't give to nobody else. How are you going to show up for your kids? Angry, upset, mad, tired, frustrated, all the things that you don't want to be, right? It happens when you're on empty, when you're worn out, when you're stressed about whatever it might be, and you're not taking care of who you need to be and not preparing yourself in those spots. And so it's extremely important. I don't want to say any of them are more important than the others. They're all extremely important. And you have to have a chalice. You've got to pour into yourself. You got to celebrate yourself. You got to cheer yourself on. You got to be the number one person on your team making it happen. That's what it takes. And then after that, Cobblers wrestling, baby. Let's go. Go Cobblers. I think a couple of them boys won this weekend. Elijah gets to wrestle next weekend. I'm pretty stoked. He hasn't wrestled in a tournament yet this year. But next weekend, him and I are doing it. And looking forward to helping support him and keep improving and growing in that area. And then after the chalice, though, pouring into yourself, I think I said the kingdom, the vault. The vault being the third space. In the vault, it's about making money, finances, right? Paying your bills, running your books, getting investments, legacy, trusts, right? Retirement accounts. All these things are important. Growth, building a business. You get to do all these things in this life, and you get to do them as fast and as efficient as you can, and with respect to everything else, because you can't have your life just all about making money. So you might have $1 trillion, but if you don't have any connection with your family, you don't have any connection with yourself, and you're a big fat slob, is it worth it? Is that $1 trillion going to do anything for you? And so you need to have enough and more, because you want to be able to give. You want to be able to support people with the money that you got. And so it's not just enough to have enough money to pay all your bills and to get by, because there's people out there who don't have the ability that you have, don't have the pleasure and the luck that you have right now. And because they don't have the things that you have, you get to go out there and help support those things, to make those differences and make a change for other people, because we need more change agents. People that are just getting by and doing just enough is not how we're going to change this world and make it better. Okay. And like Michael Jackson said, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race, guys. It's important. And I gotta stop quoting Michael Jackson, although he does have some great lines about the world coming together. He's fantastic in that, and he's got good dance moves. Also, the temple. And the temple is extremely important. Like the other three, the temple is all about pouring into yourself physically, right? Eating good foods. I had a nutty bar today. My son wanted nutty bars. And it fell out. And I was like, you know what? That looks delicious. I'm going to eat it. And then I was like, man, that is not filling my body up with the goodness that I need. and I would have been better served by sticking that bad boy back in there. Anyways, and that's a choice, right? Discipline and something I get to be more focused on for myself going into this year. It'll be on my list. But with that, we have the whole idea about the temple. So eating healthy, meal prepping, doing those things. You save a bunch of money by meal prepping. You aren't going out to restaurants. You aren't going out to fast food. Tons of money is being saved, and you're going to get better quality food. That one don't count. I had to fall off of the treadmill for it to count. So we're having a bet. Johnny, you're on here right now. I said I'm going the under of 200. So I'm open to bets. But in this year, 2026, I will fall less than 200 times. And yesterday and today, I've got 2 already. So we're going to open this up. But what's your bet? And then hit the gym, right? I'm on a treadmill right now. I get my steps in right now while I'm talking to you guys about this stuff. I'm going to be hitting the gym again and working out later on tonight. And I'm going to be on the treadmill again when I do my next video later on about doing some of the AI work that I'm working on today. And I've been getting some stuff set up to get those things going. But while I'm doing it, right? While I'm doing it, this is where it gets to happen. It's here in this spot. 200 times. I'm going to fall off my treadmill where I actually this is an example, not falling. Whoa. And I stumble. And then I have to get back on. Less than 200 times. This treadmill is 15 inches wide if I'm lucky. And I'm saying I'm going to fall off this thing less than 200 times while I'm doing these things. So just while I'm doing these, I don't fall off other times. But I'm looking at the camera and it's kind of off to the side, and I'm looking at the screen while I'm doing work and stuff. So I'm saying I'm going to fall under 200 times, and I've already fallen twice. But you got to hit in the gym, working out. How you going to be a great dad? You got to go out there and do that stuff, right? Classic bets from Trading Spaces. $1. I'm in, bro. I got you. I'll take that bet. So you're taking the over, huh? You saying I'm going to fall. You think I'm a klutz. Bro. I hope I don't lose that $1, but you know what? I'm in. Trading Spaces is a great movie, man. What a great movie. So, classic spec from the 80s. I think it's really important, though. It's really important that, and I'm going to count them out, too. I'm going to put it up there. We're going to do a poll on this thing. What's up? Real quick. I was in the middle of let me finish this tirade about the temple real fast, and then we'll come back, and then we'll hit me up with the accountability. But the temple is all that physical body stuff, right? So you got to take care of yourself. You got to do all those things about help yourself. No doubt. Yeah. So having that ability to take care of yourself. So if you can't take care of yourself, if you're not in good shape, your kids are playing on a playground and you can't play with them and run through the jungle gyms and stuff, right? You're too big. I saw a video of a guy today online. He went to an amusement park with his son. And his son wanted to ride this ride. And he's too short. But if his dad's there, he can ride it, right? And they went there. They went to go ride this ride. And his dad was too fat. And guess what? He crushed that boy. And that was the memory that his son got to have of that experience. And he got to have. And that sucks. That sucks. That's a terrible thing. And I don't wish that on him or that boy or anybody else. And so we don't do that. And yes, the vault. Let's go back to that. In giving, right? Give what you got, right? I mean, I give all the time. I'm always giving to people and stuff. My friend had accidents for his kid. I'm giving $50. It's what I have right now. But if I had done a better job this last year, could I had more? And could I have given them $100? Could I have given them $1,000? And if I'm living in abundance, making all that much more money, doing more things, pushing myself to my limits, and I'm getting more, can I then give more? And do we have a responsibility to do that? I think, I don't need to have read the Bible enough to know, but I'm pretty sure that in the Bible, Jesus talks about you need to be able to give, but you can't give from an empty bucket, like with the temple and the chalice, right? And you have to have something to give. And so just getting enough to make sure that you cover all your bills every single month, that's a recipe for disaster. And you can't give. It makes a huge difference. When I give to other people, it makes my heart feel better. It changes their lives. It helps me out. It's like this. It gives all over the place. It expands joy and connection for all people by having that ability. And so it's important that we go out there and maximize the amount of money we can make, not just so we can have more money and talk about it, right? But because you can do more with it. We can go out there and buy more investments. We can do more stuff for making legislation changes. We can actually afford to pay for lobbyists and build our own lobbying groups. You know, we can go out there. We can put investments in stuff for our kids. We can go build a house of hope for these families. We can go out there and donate to causes that are going to make a difference and make sure that things happen. And when people are in trouble, we can change those things for them. And we have that power. But if we play small, I want to watch TV. You know, I don't feel like going and doing that. That then we hold ourselves back. And so what we don't want to do is prevent ourselves from having that opportunity to go out there and make that difference in our lives. We need to have that ability to go out there and make that impact. And I think all the guys that I know want to have that stuff. Damn right. Money is a tool. And part of that legacy is about giving, right? And that's the fifth one. So you really can't get into the fifth one so much if you don't have all these things around. And so my area that I called it is the capital. And maybe I'll change it. I have been debating about that, but I've been calling it the capital. And it's the fifth. It's once you have all those things in place and they're growing and they're fed and your body's fed and your mind's fed and your heart's fed and your kids are fed emotionally, spiritually, you know, figuratively, right? Everything, your bank accounts are growing, your businesses are growing. Then the capital is about the give back, right? The contribution, making the change in the world that you want to see. And that's where the real gold is at, you know, leaving that other legacy, a bigger legacy, not just with your kids and your family, but now making those changes in the world that are going to move us all forward, that you want and that we all want. And a lot of us have the same goals, you know. Unfortunately, a lot of powers out there trying to slow us down and prevent us from having it. But a lot of us want to do the same kind of things. We want stronger families. We want healthier people and better relationships and more money and safety and security. And we don't get those things by sitting around and hoping for them. We have to go out there and take them and make it happen. And so once you have a good grasp of those other four and you're under control and they're growing and you have them moving, then you really start moving into the idea of like, how can I give? Can I support a candidate that's going to go out and do these things? Can I go to the courthouse and watch as these judges are making rulings and stuff? Can I help to make sure that these things are done right? Can I go to the Capitol and work on bills and talk to legislators? You know, can I run for office and be that change right here and one of the 100 voters that makes it done? You know, and you can't do those things if you don't have any money, if you don't have your health and a good relationship. If all those other things are falling apart, you can't do them all. And so you get to go out there and do them all. You get to go out there and be that guy in all those spots. And so it's not like you move like all the pieces forward at the exact same time, right? Because you can't do all those things. So everything's not like just huddle it all up and we're just going to put our hands out and like glide it all forward, right? Well, you get to go out there and do it in a way that moves us forward, in a way that resonates. We got to go in a way that resonates in us, that gives us all these pieces. And so pieces will be done at different times and stuff. And one of the things that I would say that I've struggled with, and coming from mine, I know a lot of people that do the same stuff also, is that I'm like a 99-yard guy kind of guy, you know, get something done or close to being done and move on to the next shiny object. Not sure where it needs to fit at, especially since I gotten done with selling real estate. I was really focused. I had a very straight line, and now I've been dabbling, unsure where I'm going with all these things because I wasn't sure where I was going with all these things. I didn't have a clear path. I had a bunch of ideas that kind of played together, but I wasn't sure where they were all going to take me. even with the visions that I had and stuff, a lot of them didn't revolve around the idea that like I knew this, like I had this set job and I had all these set things. I live in a life that is not as set as I probably would like it to be, and it'll make as much sense to be able to do a lot more of the stuff that I'm doing. And I have a lot of things that are going on that are going really well, and it's using those things to my advantage to go out there and make better use of tools that will support me in getting these things accomplished, like getting my courses completed and online, and getting all my my investments done that I want to be doing, turning in all my licenses, getting my licenses all taken care of, and being licensed in every single area, building up the grants and the approach and getting the donations. All these things require a lot of effort and a lot of conscious forward progress all the time. And just one of the things I've had is that I have all these ideas and there's too many and I can't get them all done. And which ones do I pick? And so today, that's what we're going to work on, is narrowing that down. And I think a lot of people have that. A lot of people maybe not as many variables because they do have a job and they do get their kids a certain amount of time and they do have all these set things. And there's some joy in that and some beauty, but also complacency can be a real detriment to growth and success, because you're either growing or you're decaying. You're on the growth up in your life and you're building and building and building, or you're on the downward slope. And I don't want to be on that downward slope. Not yet. I'm only 46. I got another. I don't even want to say that I'm halfway done, but I feel like that's probably a realistic number. I'm pretty close to being halfway done. 104 is what I've been saying all the time, because Jiminy Cricket had a song about being 103, because I play safe for you and me, because I'm no fool. And so I feel like 104 is like a pretty good safe age that I should be able to achieve. So that's my number. And so I'm still not even halfway there. I still got another 6 years to get halfway there. But how do I keep this going so I can do this for the rest of my life, where I can keep building and keep growing and keep supporting, damn right. Comfortable being uncomfortable. You got to be able to run through it, man. You got to be able to run through it. And if you're just sitting there enjoying the comfort of the moment, you're missing out on opportunities. That's the time you got to be pushing, because life's going to throw things at you. It's going to throw stuff at you. No one expected my dad to die when he did. My dad died. I didn't think that I was going to grow up and have a kid and be not in a relationship and have to go through all this court stuff to be a dad. It took a huge hit on me. I wasn't prepared. And I wasn't in the greatest state of my whole entire life. At that time, financially, I was, but in a lot of other areas, I wasn't. And so it taught me a lot about being balanced and being well-rounded. And then I've lived in, I don't want to say poverty, but I lived in a much poorer environment than I did when I was selling real estate. I'm not doing vacations every quarter or more often than that. And my house is not huge. You can see most of it right here. And that's okay. That's okay. I don't need those things, I'm not sure they filled me up at all. But I think a lot of people go for those things. A lot of people want those things and they strive for them. And so what I don't want is to be complacent in my life. I used to say that my least favorite word was complacency. I never want to be complacent. I never want to be satisfied in this moment. And I said those things maybe out of like some arrogance as a kid, young man and stuff, right? But like I always want to be on the growth, on the come up. Like I always was striving and achieving. But then I did get there at some point in time, especially right around the time when I had my real estate company. I was kind of complacent. I was kind of complacent in that time. And being a little complacent, I took it for granted. The stuff that I was building, the stuff that I was doing, I wasn't in the best physical shape. I didn't do a lot of those other things because I was managing all this other stuff, and I was so mostly singularly focused on a couple things, and I was letting other stuff go. And then when I did that, they hurt, and they hurt harder. And I'll be honest, I hadn't had a whole lot of painful experiences. I hadn't had a whole lot of setbacks in my life. I've been really blessed and fortunate that I didn't before then. And so to have such a huge hit come at a place where I wasn't prepared for it, not believing that it was even a possibility, and then the hit so hard and have it be something that's so detrimental and having no control or power when I've maintained and controlled and flowed through everything else in my life. It really is incredibly destructive and hurtful. And not that I think you should have like pain when you're younger, right? But I do think that it makes you stronger, and going through that pain, going through that fire, it forges a better, more fortitude and power and strength to go through those things in life and achieve more and have more. And so it's been really motivating to me to have that opportunity. And so that's kind of where this comes from, and doing those 4 different things. And so I'm in a space right now. I definitely need to make more money. And I have some plans, and I've been like getting by, and it's time to go past getting by. It's time to go into this next phase of how do I grow this thing. And I had a few ideas last year that did not materialize, and I have new ideas this year, and I've been working on for the last like 5-6 months, and they're getting together much more in line. And now that they're here, I'm feeling this is the time and the place. And I'm really about making this change this year in 2026. I know a lot of people here are also. And so I want to help support everybody in making that right here for themselves. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to turn off this treadmill, and I'm going to sit down, and I am going to talk this into my computer. We're going to talk through my year vision, and you're going to hear me do it right here, right now. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you like a path, an idea of kind of my internal dialogue that I have around how I'm building this thing. And then I'm going to build it then with the AI, because that's the tool that I've been using. I might handwrite one later on also, because I do know how much more powerful that is. And then I'm going to make a picture of it, and I'll share the picture of it on the next video for you guys. Or maybe in this one, and add a note or something like that. A comment. Yeah, right? So there we go. I am going to turn off this treadmill right now. I'm going to take off my walking shoes, put on my slippers, and then we're going to talk this through with the AI. So let me just turn this bad boy off. There are so many things to turn off when I'm doing it like this. But I think this is going to be a good way to do it. And I don't think doing it while I'm walking is the best way. But I have this gimbal on here, so watch. Let's see if it does it around me. The hard part is, can I sit down with it? You know what? I'm doing it while I'm walking. I'm walking it out. I was going to sit down. I'm not. Let's walk it out. All right, so it's going to be easier this way. So how I like to do this, I like to start off with like a brainstorm. I guess ground rules first. How I like to do this, and the ground rules that I go by when I'm doing a vision, I write it in the third person. So this is written January 1st, 2027. That's where I'm writing this at. January 1st, 2027. It's not quite a year out. I know. It's okay. January 1st, 2027. And I'm writing it like I am somebody else telling the story of Zach Martin. So when I talk to this thing as Zach Martin, it's not my arrogance or anything else. It's me talking to it as if I am the person who is being talked to. And the whole thing is that you want to read this thing and think about this thing in a way that not limited by your beliefs that you have about yourself, that you have this like, oh, okay, I can't do that, right? I can't. Oh, I have to be realistic, right? This is your vision. You get to make it whatever it is. You could, it has to be attainable. So you can't say you're going to be 7 feet tall if you're only 5'5", because that shit ain't going to happen, all right? Unless you turn to Gumby and stuff. I've seen movies, not going to happen, all right? Not going to happen. So something that's attainable in your life, but you need to risk yourself. So don't make it look super simple. Like, I weigh 210 pounds. I think I'm gonna weigh 205 pounds. And maybe if 205 pounds is the perfect amount of weight, then go for it. But you want to push yourself to something that's going to make you what you really want. So if you want to be 205 pounds, maybe you want to be 12% body fat instead of 17. That would be the risky part, right? So now you got to put on a bunch of muscle to be at 205 pounds and that percent body fat. So we're going to talk through all those things. And then talk through it with vivid imagery, because what you want to have is you want to have the ability to be out there as you're doing this stuff, and somebody else could read this and they could see you in that spot. Because when you read it, you want to see yourself right there. The colors, the smells, the who, the what, the where, you know, what it smelled like, what it looked like, who's there, what you're touching, you know, was the sun warm, was the wind cold, you know, what was going on. You want to describe all that stuff as vividly as possible, because that vividness brings it to life. If you have dialogues, if you're going to give somebody a hug and tell them you love them, and, you know, play in the park and throw some balls, right? Slap of the leather, right? I don't know if you all play baseball or not, but I did. I'm a game. And I love the smell of leather. It just brings me back. And so I want that. I want that for you guys to have that also. But when you're making that vision for your life, this is how you do it. So now we're going to do it. So I'm going to just ramble on. I'm going to just ramble on in case I haven't been. And we're going to go from here. So let me do something here real fast. All right. So I'm going to ramble on through this whole process, and then we're going to see where it goes. So Zach Martin, it's January 1st, 2027. And Zach Martin is laying on the beach after celebrating the start to a new year with a couple of friends that he really likes. And we celebrated in Cancun. And you can feel the nice warm breeze coming off of the ocean. It actually comes off a lagoon, whatever. I want it off the ocean today. The waves are crashing. I'm drinking probably just do tequila on the rocks because that's my favorite. And I probably had a little fun last night. So sitting on the beach, drinking the tequila on the rocks with my friends, talking about the day before and the year we just had and how wonderful it was to be in this experience. We're under the canopy, laughing, listening to the seagulls flying by, and the family's enjoying the beautiful new year on the beach. And we're talking about our lives we've had. Now, Zach's done a whole lot in this last year. 2026 was an incredible year for Zach in so many different levels. So many different things that Zach did this year have propelled his life from where it was before into the new path that's going to accelerate him towards the world and the life that he's envisioned for a long time. One of the most impactful things, one of the things that Zach cares about the most is his relationship with his son. Zach and his son have had an absolutely incredible year together. They started off New Year's in Hawaii in 2026, breaking it in classic epic form, but their adventure together didn't end there. Birthday parties, turning 9, backpacking trips through to Cloud Peak in Wyoming, a father and kids camp, back to basics in Daniel, Wyoming in August, and playful mastery in Bandera, Texas, with his Clemmer folks and his Clemmer family, jumping in the pool in July, jumping and doing cannonballs in the pool and stuff, and getting squirt guns and flotation things and chicken fights with all the preteen boys, man, and just having a good old time with a bunch of friends that all are focused on being the best for our kids, sitting around inside the dojo with the big screen coming down and all the parents hanging out in the back and the kids up front and watching the movie Inside Out and talking about feelings and connection and joy and letting go and releasing the hard things and focusing on the abundance and the possibility of our lives. It's going to be a joyful experience. I want to have so many opportunities. Zach's going to have so many opportunities to be there with his friends, with Ashley and with Dre and Aaron, and I don't know who else is going to be there. Alvin and Kimberly and Crystal and so many more. May and Phil going to be there and just love on each other's families and support each other, working on our tribe and making it a better connected place. They go on an epic trip. We're going to go, Zach and his son, they're going to go fly out to San Francisco and land in and get there just in time to catch a ride over. Maybe his friend Ashley and Mason will come pick him up wearing our Giants gear. We're going to go right to the stadium. Zach has never been to a Giants game. I've seen 30 Giants games. Zach has seen 30 Giants games, never at Giants Stadium. And Zach's first experience here, decked out in his Giants gear. He's got his orange and white glove on. It's classic Giants glove that he used when he played softball and stuff. And get to be in that space and smell the leather and be out there in the field and get some peanuts. And we sing some songs. And the Giants win. The Giants win. There's a firework display, and we have fireworks. And we just celebrate this whole thing and all this joy and connection. And we go from there up to the redwoods and see these massive trees and hike through the trees. And we run around and play like we're, in Star Wars and having battles. And we're having these battles and we're jumping around and throwing discs off of epic, ancient, humongous stumps from redwoods at the disc golf course. And then we go see my brother. We go see Zach's brother up in Medford and go to Crater Lake. Experience after experience, they find joy and fun and passion living their lives. Zach and his son, Zach's coaching his baseball team again. Won the championship in 2026, like they did in 2025, back-to-back years, 2 different leagues. Building a little dynasty. And Robert, Zach's friend, helped coach, ran the books, ran the dugout, and it was incredible. Such a great time of building a legacy and connection. Zach helped and was assistant coach and helped out doing quarterbacks and receiving work with the tackle football team, the Steelers. And Elijah's the quarterback again. Zach's son was the quarterback, and they out there and they throwing passes and making all these connections. And him and his friends were out there living it up. And the wintertime comes and they go on a trip for Christmas. And they go and spend Zach's birthday down in Breckenridge, where Zach and his dad spent every year before Elijah was born for a decade, skiing every single year. And Zach and Elijah went there and stayed in their place at the resort and skied every day and talked about Poppy and about life and enjoyed the hot tubs and enjoyed the hot cocoa and the fresh pow on the slopes. Lots of bluebird days. Nice warm bluebird days is what we're going for on that trip. Feeling the snow below us, and every night it snows on us 6 inches, 3 inches every night. And we have fresh pow every mow. And we get out there and we just tear it up. And we live this like epic adventure. And then we go back and Santa Claus comes to Cheyenne, and we go there and we're with my cousins and everybody's all together and we celebrate Christmas with a big tree and a lot of family and songs and presents being opened and experiences being had, and joy abounds. And that's the kingdom this year. Zach's mom moves up to Rapid City for most of the year and lives there and hangs out with Zach and Elijah, and they got a new house in the country. They got some chickens, and Zach spends a lot of time with his mom. They got a lot of time together building out photo albums and putting it all on the computer and talking about legacy and talking about life and how we build more connection with our family and keep us all engaged. And I get my mom to see all the stuff. So I get his mom to be involved with the things that he's building out here, and she gets to see what else is happening and how this is going to make a huge difference. And she gets to be intimately part of the changes that are being had right here in Rapid City and they're being had around the world because of this work. And so then Zach's family stuff is going great, but Zach's doing a lot of other things besides just loving on his son and his mom and traveling and having these epic baseball memories. Zach's out there making money, making lots of money, and doing it all in great ways. Got his real estate license back again. Had a vision how it was going to look. It didn't turn out that way, but guess what? He got it. And he's got it in Wyoming, and he's got it in South Dakota. And he sold $8 million of real estate in 2026. $8 million, having not sold any real estate in years before, took a decade off, comes back, 8 mil plus and more. Zach sells. But he doesn't just sell real estate. He's growing a team. He's got 10 agents already working for him, under him, with the plans for more. That he's going to be at 25 this next month. And Zach's got the team in place, got the stuff in place right below him to keep this growing. And Zach anticipates doing more than that. And besides selling 8 mil in real estate and making a bunch of money and making that comeback glory that he always envisioned, Zach's done a lot of other stuff. So he started a business on writing books and writing programs and doing social media content on social media channels. He's got a whole production business all around this stuff that him and his mom have built. And it's making tons of money, thousands of dollars every day coming in over and over again. And every day he's actually not more, producing more, making more beneficial stuff that brings in more money, helps us do more. And Zach's got kids as their dads. And there's 3 employees at kids as their dads now, on top of the board and on top of the psychologists that work there. We got a supervising visit coordinator and manager. We got a facility manager who runs the whole entire thing and takes care of all the day-to-day operations. And we got the camp manager, Jeff. He runs all the camps, and he is the camp director, my right-hand man. He is my friend, my brother, and Jeff and I built Back to Basics, the outdoor engagement camp, and it is thriving. But here in Rapid City, they've got the piece of land that they want. They've got it all set up, plans in place to build the very first ever made in the Rocky Mountain region men's domestic violence center, men's sanctuary, a house of hope. And that this house of hope is going to revolutionize the way that men and domestic violence is seen in our area. It's going to change the way how families operate. It's going to give men a voice in a place where they are heard and understood and supported through this experience and given a chance to grow. It's not just a place to come be victims. It's a place of empowerment and support and guidance and care. And as men do it, we don't want to hold them down in their victimhood and make them stay that way forever, but dust them off, pump them back up, and get them back out there, taking this world back on. We're making more empowered, more focused, more capable fathers that are out there doing greater things for themselves, for their kids, and this community. And we're being seen nationally as how to do this stuff. And the plans are out there to grow it even beyond what we have going in Rapid City, South Dakota. That we have a whole compound already designed for the kids as their dad sanctuary, the fatherhood epicenter, the Mecca of fathers. We got the four fathers on Mount Rushmore, and we got the epicenter right here. Zach has written a bunch of grants, and I'm recording all this stuff. That's why I keep stopping. Zach has written a bunch of grants, and he's got a grant partner. Matthew Johnson and him are writing grants and getting grants passed, and we're making big strides. Big strides. Nah, dude, I ain't forgetting about Ohio. Hell no, I love Ohio. We're gonna be out there doing some stuff out that way. So, gonna be big. and so Zach's gonna go out there and build this thing up, right? And we're going to have this place here, and it's going to be bringing in money, and Zach's going to be getting paid. All the social media stuff's going to be getting done, and we're getting bills passed. Shared parenting passed this year in South Dakota. It's about time. Took too long, but we're here right now, and we have accomplished the goal of shared parenting in South Dakota. We have stopped an increase of child support payments, and we've lowered the threshold, the cliff as they call it, for what people have to pay. Zach and Elijah, Zach and his son, they went to Pierre, the capital, and got to hang out with his boy Tom Pischke and the governor. And Elijah has a pen from the governor of Wyoming, Matt Mead, when he signed into law the bills in 2018. And my son gets another pen. Zach's son gets another pen from this, as we got shared parenting passed in South Dakota. And it's the first of many pens that Elijah gets working with his dad, with Zach, on changing these laws across the country, making this happen. And it's been big. It's been real big. But Zach didn't stop there. No, Zach went out and did more. So he started an AI business. Zach has spent a lot of money on building websites, and a lot of website designers just aren't doing a good job. And Zach knew he needed it, and others needed it also. And he went out there and built it. And he got a team now. He's got a team of designers working with him. 3 designers and 1,000 AI agents out there pumping these things out, making the new websites, the better websites, the more supportive and focused websites that help more people make more money and do their businesses better. And the business incubator is going good with the House of Hope. And they're starting to build some businesses, and they've helped 12 guys start businesses in Rapid City, South Dakota, with the intention to build more. And they've got the program in place for 2027 where they are going to be having guys do good jobs and job training right here in Rapid City, South Dakota. And Zach feels connection and joy with getting with the governor, getting our photo taken, people snapping photos and stuff. And it's springtime or late winter. We're inside the Capitol, and it's warm and it's old and it feels kind of stuffy, but the air is light and the feelings are great. And Zach and the whole team are just so excited about what they've accomplished right here in South Dakota, and so pumped up for what's going to come in the future. Not giving up, not quitting. They're ready to move and keep this momentum. And Zach is so joyful and so proud of what they've done, and that this team around him, Eric and Shane and Derek and Tom, and that this team is going to continue to keep building and keep growing, and that this is the way you do this. It's not a one-man shop. It's not a one-man show. It's about a team, because no one can do it by themselves. And then while Zach's doing all this stuff, making all this money, Zach's out there having all this joy and fun with his family and having these experiences. You don't get all that kind of energy if you ain't eating good and working out. And Zach's leaving 2026 at the best shape he's been in since he was probably 20 years old. Back down to 187 and lean and mean, maybe 190. Hitting the weights in the weight room 5-6 days a week, walking on his treadmill. Zach was on this treadmill and walked this year. I don't know how many steps I'm going to get in this year. We're going to say 2 million steps this year or more and more. Zach got in 2 million steps and more. He was a walking machine everywhere, every day. He walked and did it all. And while he walked, he talked to his computer, because his computer's doing notes right now. I'm working right now. I've got all this stuff written down. In case you're worried about what I'm going to do this year and coming back and watching it, guess what? Computer knows. It's going to show. It's going to show the proof. The proof's in the pudding, baby, on the computer. And so, did not fall. And so Zach's going out there and hitting the gym, hitting the weights. He's got his plan dialed in. He's got it all focused up, and he's making it happen. He is getting into this gym and into this work, just like he talks about all the time. Meal prepping every Sunday, even with his son. I know that's something he's had a hard time with in the past. Zach knows that teaching his son the power and the benefits of meal prepping and having him support is going to help him be a better man, help him be more focused and more capable for himself in the future to have this kind of life. Can't trust nobody else to do it for you but yourself, and having him do it. But in 2027, we're going to have somebody who's doing it with us right here. So we don't have to do it ourselves. And he could be to help. And then he's sitting there and learning these skills with his dad. I want to go back to, so I'm 195. I'm benching 250. I was at 220 this last year. So 250 on the bench, which I think is pretty solid. And not like one time, but like 8 times. Zach's looks lean and mean. You can see his abs, probably like 14% body fat, 12% body fat, somewhere in that range. And that when they're going places and doing stuff all summer long, Zach's out at the lake, shirt off, getting his tan on. He's got good skin. You can tell by looking at this guy that it looks good with a tan on, and tans come easy. And Zach's getting one. So out there doing all that stuff. Zach's feeling good, feeling fresh, feeling clean, taking care of himself, making sure he's putting in the work, eating his vitamins, taking his protein, doing all the right things each and every day to live that life. So, yeah, I'm going to get $2 this year. And so anyways, so beyond that, then that's pretty much the whole temple, right? Physical fitness, health, maximizing, right? I'm gonna go back to the business stuff because there are some more business things that I want to have. So back to the vault. Zach had the proving grounds, and the proving grounds continue to grow, and the proving grounds now has over 1,000 and more people in it. They have 12 distinct courses inside the proving grounds that guys can take, and guys are choosing into them all the time. The community in the proving grounds is active and involved. People are engaging and building and working together, and it's a place for connection. And from the proving grounds, men are choosing into the Forge. And this is personal coaching with teams and growth and effort. And this is a place where guys are coming in there, getting support, getting help, getting a family of men in the Forge, where we're going out there and achieving our lives, becoming the worthy. And we're working on all these aspects, all these things with yours truly, coaching the way. And through that, this year, 2026, Zach coached 46 and more guys through the Forge. But the Forge didn't stop just with the coaching, the one-on-one coaching and the team coaching and the trips that those guys took and everything that was so epic about that. The most epic one was going to Dad's Lake. 12 guys, August. Zach and 12 other guys finish up our Forge. And we finish it with a celebration. We fly in, spending our time in Daniel at our camp in Daniel, Wyoming, having a bonfire, setting up shop. Jeff and the bus drive us out to the trailhead, and we hike in 10 miles with our backpacks on up the mountain. And we get to the top. And at the top, we're at Dad's Lake. We get our fishing poles out. We set up our tents, and we get ready for an epic 3 days. And we eat, and we celebrate, and we talk, and we plan, and we enjoy beautiful weather, sunny, warm. The flowers are in full effect. We are catching some of the most epic greenback trouts that you've ever seen, and probably never seen because they are very rare, only found in the Rocky Mountains in very few places. And we are doing something that builds this group up, builds this connection. And that we come back down the mountain, high hopes, walking down, chipper, so excited. We get back, big bonfire at Jeff's camp, and we go back home knowing that we're going to have this to go to and do year after year. Smell like campfire the next day. We wake up with some coffee, and we load everybody up on the bus. We drive to Jackson Hole. And everybody, all 12 of those guys, get on a plane in Jackson Hole, and Jeff and I head back down, and we spend some time around the fire together, talking about all the things we did this summer and how great it was to have the Back to Basics camps with the kids, getting kids and dads there. We had 3 groups 10 each, which sustained the camp for the whole next year. We had this group of guys, and that we're going to do more going into 2027. We sat there and played some drums and watched the sunset. It was an epic, beautiful sunset over the Wyoming range, because that's where the sun sets, out there over the Wyoming range, looking over the Idaho border. And I look forward to what's to come and celebrate how far we came to be in this space. Great conversation, great friends, going through some of our most tumultuous and difficult times together to be in this place. And then probably the most epic thing is the app, the Forged Father app. And this is the gamification of life. Fatherhood operating system game. And we live it all day. And there are tens of thousands of dads, men, you don't gotta be a dad to do it, men choosing in. And there's daily quests, and there's team quests, and there's individual quests, and you're building visions right there on it. And guys are forming teams and forming groups in their own little communities, coming together, talking about how we're gonna build more stuff up and making points for their team, winning prizes, going on trips, setting up. And we have a trip plan. We go to Disney World, hit up Disney World, with a whole group of fathers. We get in there, we get special treatment because Disney World, they know we brought in 100 dads and all their kids, and they want to show us the royal treatment, and we get treated like royalty. Oh no! Like royalty walking through Disneyland. Gosh dang it, and he's even on right now. So treated like royalty going through Disneyland. And we're going through there, getting to see it all, and getting to meet Mickey, be in the backstage. We get to walk in the secret spots, and we get treated, all the secret things, all the little stuff that, going on in there, behind the scenes, not the weird, freaky shit that we're not into, right? But like the cool stuff, like secret doors and passageways, not the stuff that we don't like about Disney World, but those cool things. And we go there and we do this dad's trip there. And then we go up to my boy David up in Canada, because I didn't forget about my boy David. We're doing a dad's trip to Canada with our boys. We're hitting it up. We got a dozen families up there, all together, hanging out, having fires, playing on the lake, enjoying this camp, spending time, dads, connecting with dads, building relationships. And this app has got so many dads across the whole entire globe, building little groups, building their teams, getting their myrmidons together, getting their squads going out there, their brotherhood, their boys, and we're going out there and they're battling, daily tasks, weekly missions. They're writing their own plans, building their own battle strategy, their own campaign for their own lives and taking it on. And then they're supporting each other, being a brotherhood, helping each other out. And I got the whole back office, right? I'm like the orchestrator of this whole entire thing, and I'm sitting there watching everybody, seeing everybody firing and doing all the things in their lives and living these dreams and loving their life. And it's just going so good. And they're just having so much fun, and it's so much joy and excitement happening. And everybody's getting, I'm sending out hats and I'm mailing out shirts and I'm giving out prizes, and you sign your friends up, you get money back, and I'm sending out checks and I'm writing checks to guys and stuff because they're getting their boys to sign up, and all their boys are coming. We're making plans to do all these fatherhood engagement things with our kids and getting our kids together across the globe. We're changing the world, all connected, forged fathers coming together. And then my boy and I, Philly Slim, because that ain't enough. That ain't enough. One last thing, I can't forget this either. I don't want to leave this out. My boy and I, Philly Slim, we're about now an album. Been working on All Right, Ransom, and Through the Fire, and The Forge. That's where it all happens, guys. And I got more songs. We put out this album, and this album's a hit, man. Selling out all over the place. Philly's on tour. I go around, I make some cameos. And then the plan for 2027 is back on. The world's largest outdoor water gun fight is planned in Rapid City, South Dakota, Father's Day 2027. We're making it happen. It's already going out there. It's already in place. It's ready to go. And all that, paying money, paying dividends. Zach writes the grants for a fatherhood camp, for a fatherhood class. Zach's getting grants from the city. The foundation here wants to throw 25% down so Zach can build the building that he needs. And we're ready to flow. 2027, the House of Hope, the improved, everything we need all in one place is in the works and will be live, all because of the focus, the vision, the passion, and excitement that Zach had for his life and to make this difference for the world. Now you hear all this and you think, there's more? But there has to be more. There's got to be more because you know what? I have to take care of myself. And I'm going to tell you what, all this stuff does fill me up. So when I'm doing these things, when I'm talking to guys on the phone and supporting guys, it fills me up. But walking fills me up. And I'm going to get hiking trails in. I'm not just going to hike on my treadmill. It might be 8 degrees outside, maybe 6 degrees outside. It's just not my day. So, but I'm going to be hiking also. And I'm going to backpack with my son. And I'm going to hike at least 10 miles every single week. And that doesn't count dog parks. I'm talking about actually hiking in the woods, which for me, 10 miles is about 4 hours, 5 hours of hiking. And I'm going to get that in at least every week, starting in, I'm going to start that shit now. I'm going to start that now. So starting this week, which starts on Monday, that starts. So Monday's the start of my week every week. So start Monday, I'm going to get in that. And I got my son a lot of those days. So I get to work hard. I get to read. I get to read a lot of books. I have a whole list and I get to dive into them. And I get to build. I get to get complete on these things. I get to complete my books and my growth that I have for my education, for my coaching, for my son, for my buildings. That gets to dive into all these things and make sure that no matter what, his legacy is prepared and built and that things are in the works, that even if Zach wasn't around, it all can continue and will continue. Not despite him, but because of him and after him. I have built my family crest and it hangs prominently on the wall, not this wall. Yeah, maybe this wall. I probably won't be gone before I get done. It'll hang on this wall. And it will hang as a centerpiece in all my houses. I'm going to make posters about the qualities that serve us in the life that we want to live. And I'm going to live that every day. I'm going to read the Bible this year. I'm going to read the whole entire Bible. And I'm going to enjoy it and discuss it with my son. And I'm just going to throw this out there because I just was called to it this morning and was thinking about it. I'm going to get baptized this year. I don't even know where I came from today, but I've been like really feeling on it and stuff. And I'm choosing in and giving myself up to it. I got some stories about God that I'll share one day, not today, but Zach felt the connection with God. Zach felt the connection with God. Zach felt the joy and the beauty and the surrender to the experience and the knowledge that he had a purpose and a reason to be here on this earth, and that through God, he can do so much more. And through his words and his coaching and his vision, Zach can accomplish all things. And that it's about staying focused and committed and being abundant with his time and his energy and his life, that he can have all of it and more. And he can give that to everybody else. And that I can take some time every day to just sit in quiet. 5 minutes in the morning time, just set a timer every day of quietness where I sit there for 5 minutes. No YouTube, no internet, no scrolling, airplane mode, by myself. 5 minutes. Maybe more, but at least 5 minutes every day. 5 minutes or more every single day. And I'm going to go even one further. I'm just going to make that tequila drink even better when I say this one out loud right now. I hope you guys see where it's at. But, and I don't drink a lot. don't get me wrong. Every once in a while, I have a drink. I do have some beer in my fridge. It's been there for like a year and a half. I don't hardly ever drink, but I'm committed in 2026. I will not drink for the rest of 2026. No alcohol for Zach Martin in 2026. And this is going to fuel my body. It's going to make me feel better. It's going to help me be better. It's going to clear my mind better. I'm not going to have bad days because of it. I'm going to be infinitely better because of that. I'm committed to these things and more because this is the life that Zach wants to live. Zach wants to have a purposeful, impactful, connected, and abundant life. Zach's committed to showing up for his son and for his family in every way necessary, every way that he's needed and capable of. He does it and more. But he shows up for himself wholeheartedly, first and foremost, each and every day. Zach always gives to him before he gives anywhere else. And he pours into himself so he can pour extra into everybody else and everything else. Zach leaves it all on the table. Zach gives it all to the world and to God, knowing that he has everything that he needs, and everything he needs comes from that, and that he gets to give of himself continuously and effortlessly because it's meant to be that way. And he follows the flow, and he surrenders to the experience, and he doesn't push or prod or fight, but just allows it to be and moves with it with grace and compassion and honor and humble humility. Zach fuels his body with nutrients and energy in a way that allows him to be clear and clean and focused and happy and abundant, able to do each and everything. And when the moment comes, he does it all. Shoots hoops. Zach plays pickleball. Zach climbs mountaintops. Zach crosses rivers. Zach goes surfing. Zach does all the things. When Zach wants to do something and it's called to be done, Zach does it because that's what Zach is meant to do. And he does it because he wants to be in the experience. He wants to feel the joy of that. And he feels more joy when he's in good shape, when he's working out, when he's taking care of his body, he's feeding himself well. And he makes the time to do those things. And he does them to the best of his ability each and every day, each and every week, because he knows the importance. And Zach dedicates himself to his work. It might be a lot of different things. He might be the jack of all trades, but he jacks as good as anybody in any trade. And he employs the right tools, and he works with the right people, and he builds teamwork and partnerships and connection and family and a forge of men, a community of brothers to take this world on, to challenge all the things that are going on around them and challenge themselves wholeheartedly and take on the inner voice and the inner turmoil first before taking the world down or propping the world up, right? Because the world's crashing around us right now, and everybody knows, everybody's watching it, and they're worried about it. We get to take care of us and build us up first. And Zach's committed to being his best version of Zach right here, right now, each and every day. And then allowing that to be the ripple that gets it going. I hear this story all the time, and I love Clemmer stuff. And you're going to hear a lot of Clemmer things throughout this time. That's the end. That's the end. You hear a lot of Clemmer things that I talk about. It's been incredibly impactful on my journey. I did a lot of things in my life before I had Clemmer, and I was very good in a lot of ways before I met this company called Clemmer for personal mastery and leadership. And I'll tell you that I'm exponentially better now in my life because of my experience of being in connection with Clemmer Leadership Academy. And I call on everybody to do it. I think everybody that I know should be part of it. We all should go. Everybody I know that's gone, it's only had better results and a happier, more joyful and connected life since then. And so I challenge all of you, if you watch this, you made it this far, go and do that. I can get you a discount, but more importantly, it's going to change your life. It's changed my life. And I'm thankful that I did that for myself and I made those choices. And it's put me on this path to even take my life on beyond where I was at prior to it to a whole new level. And so I'm very grateful. And like this whole thing about writing this stuff down, I started doing this only like 12 years ago because of Clemmer. I didn't write them down before. I just had a bunch of goals and I just freaking knocked shit out. You know, that's the kind of guy that I've always been. But now I write them down. Now I dictate them in and I have them to look at. I have them to memorize. I'm going to build these things from this. I'm going to make a collage. In fact, I'm going to take this right now. And I'm going to take and copy all this from the bottom to the top. And I know there's probably faster ways than how I'm doing it, but you know what? I'm the one recording it, so I'm doing it up. I'm going to scroll all the way up to the top. I'm going to copy this bad boy. And I'm going over here to ChatGPT because ChatGPT does a great job making images. So I'm going to make an image. I want you to make a collage of all the things that I painted in this dictation of my life 1 year from today. Draw this, write January 1st, 2027 on it. Let's talk about and show all the greatness that is Zach Martin. That's not what I wanted to do. Help me make a collage. Take all these things that I have written inside of this, put this all together, make a collage about my life in 2026. Date it January 1st, 2027. Put all these vivid imagery together and make this awesome collage about what my life's going to look like. And then show me this epic picture of the journey that I'm going to take here in 2026. Let's go, ChatGPT. Said that backwards. GPT. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about, chat. There it goes. It's doing it. So it's typing it in. So I mean, collage. I've drawn my own collages and I do them periodically. You can kind of see one over my shoulder. See that right there? Oh, see that right under that liquor bottle that I never drank? Had it for almost a decade now. That's the collage that I just made last year. And almost all those things on there, I did almost all of them, but yeah, still at 3, baby. Oh yeah, man, 200 is gonna be rough if I'm doing things like this. Anyways, that's the collage. That's where it's at. I did that this last year, and sure changed my life having that putting around there. So I hope this inspires somebody to do something. I don't know if Johnny's even on here right now, even in and out, and sure appreciate that. But I am going to earn $2 from him for my 2 million steps and for my less than 200 falls off this treadmill when I've already hit 3. So that's okay, though. You know what? It's early. It's early. Oh, the collage is coming. The collage, I can't turn it. I can turn it. Watch this. There it is. You can kind of see it right there, probably. It's thinking. It's creating. Zach Martin's unforgettable 2026 journey. Why does it go both ways like that? I don't know why it goes both ways like that all the time, but it does. Oh, no. It's popping up. You guys ready for this? Oh. Man. Why does it always go the same way? Yeah, I know you're going, but you know what? You're making it hard on yourself and me with you being plugged in. But check that out. Oh, no way. Check that out. Look at that. No, but the image can may violate our guardrails concerning similarity to third-party content. If you think it was wrong, please retry or edit your post. Oh, ChatGPT. You're so woke. Anyways, it's going to be in the comments. Go out there, make it great, guys. Make a vision for your life in 2026. Make this happen. Here's my life 1 year from today. I'm going to post it in the comments, and I'm going to make all this stuff real. Let's go, guys. What are you forging today? Commit to achieve. Let's do it. How do I stop this thing?